Okay, YouTube. So, Johnny Mitchell said he went to prison for two marijuana charges. He had two marijuana charges, supposedly. Then all this, how come all these mugshots, except for the one where he's 19, are marijuana charges? And why did he not get in trouble for those? Every charge I've been charged with, I was charged with, and either they were fought until they were dropped because the court knew they had no case because witnesses were liars, or I got convicted of them. So, like this one, that one is he's younger, possession of marijuana, marijuana with consideration, age 23. And homeboy, I don't give a fuck if you're 6'6" and 180 pounds. You're small as fuck, so don't come square at me, Johnny. It'll be the last thing you fucking do. But right there, look at that. More distributed marijuana with consideration. Now, what that means in Oregon terms is he gave weed to somebody for money, or he traded something for it worth a certain amount of money. So, like nowadays in Oregon, you can give up to like an ounce or two to somebody because it's recreational legal and you're clear. But you trade it for anything worth money or you sell it over a certain amount, it automatically goes from a Class A misdemeanor to a Class B felony punishable by 10 years. And they're making the charges worse because in the K Junction area in Josephine County, cartel grows and mafia grows are so rampant that they're trying to do whatever they can to stop the illegal market coming out of Oregon because it's legitimately horrible. And the weed's shitty too. It's just not good weed. But look at this. Look at all of this. Look at all of this. 2010. He got charged with all this back after back in separate cases. All of this in separate cases. How in the hell did you not snitch and only get 24 months in prison for all of this shit, bro? No fucking way, dude. I don't think so. I got two marijuana felonies, and I got 24 months in prison. And 24 months of parole, and I spent a year in jail fighting off my charges. And you've got all this shit, money laundering, and that INS, that's interstate. So, if this is a federal charge, why did you not go to the feds? Oh, money laundering. Well, that's money laundering instrument. That's interstate. That's instrument. So you had a money laundering instrument, which means you were forging checks or something of that nature, just like J.D. DeLay did, bro. You're just doing the same exact thing J.D. DeLay did. You were laundering money by making fake money. The difference is it doesn't look like you got charged for the fake money as far as I can tell. But either way, dude. Like, what's the truth about your story, dude? Seriously? I mean, you don't get this many freaking charges and not go to prison. Even if you're on... Okay, so the grid works by a number and a letter. And depending on where you end on the grid, for your first charge, generally mandates probation. Unless it's to a severity to where you don't get probation. So your first charge, you got probation. Because you landed the first level on the grid. So let's go to Gemini. Because I can't explain this that well, so we'll have Gemini help. We'll go Oregon offender sentencing grid. So it says right here, the Oregon Felony Sentencing Guideline Grid is a two-dimensional matrix used by judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys to determine the presumptive sentence for felony convictions. Crime seriousness level. Levels 1 through 11. Criminal history. Grades A through I. So like I said, you're on a grid, right? And you're given a number and a letter. So I was correct. So let's put all of this in. Yeah, see, look at this. He's got multiple freaking charges from this shit, you bastard. He's got multiple freaking charges of nothing but marijuana, which aren't bad charges, bro. Like, if you sell marijuana, that's fine, but just be realistic and freaking, like, tell the truth about your charges, bro. You don't have to, like, fabricate a fake story to try and act cool, bro. But anyways, yeah, so the first time he would have been charged, he'd have got probation or short jail sentence rather than state prison. So category 4 on the grid for standard felony manufacture. Commercial drug offense, escalation to category 8. Delivering for consideration. Possessing of 300 more cash at a time. So yeah, he would have mandatorily had to have done time anyways when it got bumped up to category 8, because it straight says up to category 8 pushes the offense significantly higher in the vertical axis, moving it above the dispositional line into mandatory prison ranges depending on the defendant's criminal history. And he had separate marijuana felony laundering charges. Yeah, financial crimes are compound to the severity and are factored cumulatively into the offender's total sentencing exposure. So let's see. See, because he wasn't charged with everything. So he got a lot of the charges dropped. But why did he get them dropped? I mean, if he's got a distribute and manufacture, and a standard marijuana felony, he could have his lawyer could have done exactly what my lawyer did. It argued that you have to possess at the time of the manufacture. Therefore, the possession charge should be merged into the manufacture charge. And if that happened, then his time would have been significantly less. But he's not telling anybody any of that. He's making this whole fabricated ass story up, saying he's like some hardcore cartel fucking connection and shit. Like, just be truthful about your shit, bro. If your lawyer really did that, that's good lawyering, bro. He got you a decent deal and it kept you from going to prison. You don't need to make stuff up. Yeah, see, because he got manufacturer of marijuana possession, so they could have merged those two charges together and he could have just been convicted of the manufacture of marijuana. Because you have to possess at the time of the manufacture. That's a legal theory and it works. But deliver marijuana with consideration, that means, firstly, he's not a good drug dealer because he's running the drugs himself, large amounts of drugs himself, instead of having somebody run them, have a mule run them for him, significantly upping his chances of getting caught. But like, bro, this just doesn't add up, Johnny. Why don't you just tell the truth, dude? Like another person said, Luke GTV, you have a decent story, bro, and you have good charges, but you're not telling the truth. And like, so how can anybody believe you at all? Because I'll call you out right now on your time in Two Rivers. Okay, Johnny Mitchell, you said you had a yard, homie. Unless you were right there, where my goddamn thing is, where that track is, which has a fence around it, so it's probably the TRCI minimum, then you weren't on this part of the prison, the main complex, where all the murderers and everybody else goes. So, and if you look at the complex, he said he was on a yard with the basketball court. Is there any yard there? No, there's not. He said he was outside on a yard. There is not. There is no yard. Where is the grass? See those little pockets right there? Those are technically yards. I've never been to Two Rivers, but I'm pretty sure those are the yards. But there's no basketball court like you said they are. They're small little holes in the wall. The inmates in limited numbers can go out and get a limited amount of rec time, and there's not a single piece of weight equipment out there. So what's the truth, Jonathan Mitchell? What is the truth, dude? What are the fucking truth? What is the fucking truth? Like, bruh. No, fuck that. You're not my bro. But seriously, like, you make no sense and you don't tell the truth about your charges. So you need to speak up and tell people the truth. Because obviously you got your charges expunged, so no one can see your paperwork now. But there's somebody out there that you snitched on, if you did, and maybe one day they just get mad enough or they relapse and they leak out their discovery about you with you in it. And that's it. Then you'll get called out for the fraud you are, dog. Horrible. Horrible. Have a nice day, YouTube.